our next guest has been described as a heavy metal comedian, and it's not hard to see why.
I like my car, do not like my car's horn. Someone's behind me, I can't slam on my brakes, I have to hit my horn, and it goes, I went thousands of dollars into debt for that sound to potentially be the last sound I make on this planet. Hey, no, stop! Darkness forever.
Please welcome Luke Severeid. Nice to know. Good.
Yeah, I figured I should wear an appropriate shirt.
Yeah, definitely. So this heavy metal comedian thing, how do you mash heavy metal and comedy?
Really, I just do comedy, but I yell it. No, I don't know. I the big metalhead growing up and got into comedy and then was like, oh, I can just kind of mush them together, and then turns out a bunch of people enjoy that. I'm like, all right, that's great.
Keep doing it. Now, look, I don't want to, judge you by your appearance, but I would say one look at you and I could tell you're a metal fan.
Thank you. How dare you accurately assess me? That's sort of on purpose. I think a lot of metalheads do that. Like we like to wear band shirts. It's like just it's a show and tell, like a little bit. You're just walking around and be like, oh, I hope someone likes the album that I like.
And then you get that affinity.
Yeah, well, it's you immediately you're like, oh, Mastodon. I was like, okay, this guy knows what I'm talking about.
So I quite like metal, so I'm not put off by it. But there is a cohort of people So do you find that you're scaring people at the same time as you're attracting them?
Yeah, but that's also why you wear the shirt. And also, if I'm on stage and I'm wearing the shirt, I kind of calibrate the audience a little bit. If they're not specifically coming to see me, that they'll be like, oh, maybe he'll yell a little bit.
Were you in metal bands growing up?
A little bit, not a lot. I played music for a little while and was not great. And then I was like, oh, I can just talk instead.
And you are out here for Knotfest.
Yes,
and
I am.
For those people who don't know, I obviously do, it is not about scouts or knitting. It's a totally different thing. So for those who don't know, it's...
Yeah, Knotfest, it's a whole heavy metal music festival that's all over the world, but they're doing a run of shows through Australia, and then I'm doing stand-up comedy shows tied to it as well.
I do have one more question. If you could trade your comedy skills for being in a massive metal band, would you do it?
Ooh. Oh, wow.
That's no.
Really?
No. Because I'm basically just a one-man a cappella metal band. Oh. And sorry, too much self-esteem in the moment. As I said it, I was like, do you feel that certain about yourself in the moment? And no, I mean, it would be awesome. It'd be great. And that was kind of as a teen, that's what I wanted to do. And then I got into comedy, and it's apples and oranges, but to give up being able to, the sound of laughter is by far my favorite sound. So to give that up for just a bunch of people in a mosh pit punching each other at my commands.
Yeah.
Okay, that does sound kind of good.
But on that, because look, I'm outing myself here. I did not recognise the T-shirt. I am sorry, but do you have any advice, or what would you say to someone, allegedly, maybe me, who's not necessarily a metalhead, but what would you say to me to maybe convince me to dip a toe into that world?
Okay, well, I think if you're not a metalhead and you've heard it and it doesn't scratch the itch, I mean, I do think it's just kind of ingrained in you to an extent. It's I know the first time I heard double kick, I felt like a sleeper agent that hadn't been activated.
It's a drumming thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, we found 2 people in the audience. Oh yeah, black shirt, of course, yeah. I found my demographic. I clocked them as soon as I came in too. What I would say to get you into it, I think what we'd need to do is have you have a terrible day and be stuck in terrible traffic in the car, and then your friend's just like, oh, you should listen to this, and then the intensity of it will kind of harmonize with those emotions.
I have terrible days.
Drown out the sound of your bad car horn as well.
Yes, it does. That's usually why I have it turned up all the way.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say drown out the sound of my crying, and I was like, yeah.
Now, we normally start with this. Welcome to Australia, because you've only just arrived, I think, this morning. Yeah.
4 hours ago, 5 hours ago.
You're doing exceptionally well.
Thank you.
Very well.
How was the flight?
It was good. There was a lot of them. It was good. I was 24 hours of flying. Now I'm in the future, so that's really cool. It was good. Made a bunch of small talk with a bunch of people, and I actually, someone was asking me where I was going. I was like, I'm going to Australia. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm a comedian. I'm going down there. And they're like, oh, what's your socials? And I showed them. And then they started watching my clips. in front of me, and just like this, like. So I watched you guys watch me, and I was like, I don't like that. So it's happened multiple times in the last 24 hours, and luckily everyone seemed pretty content. But it's a gamble, and I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
Because it is just like, oh yeah, look through my Instagram,
Instant
and then they're just.
Were they laughing?
Not as much as I wanted. But like enough. We still talked after that, but it was a gamble.
Yeah.
What's your go-to lie if someone says to you, what do you do when you don't want to say it?
Oh.
I'm a bad liar. I usually just say it, and I'm like, oh, I do comedy, and if they get weird about it, I'll be like, all right, you know, you wouldn't enjoy my comedy, that's fine.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, okay.
So you're really into this music. When did it start for you? Were you sort of moshing to Slipknot when you were back in kindy?
Listen to the lingo on this one.
Oh, yeah, I know a thing or two about medals, crushes and otherwise.
You were great up until that last part.
Thanks, Wally.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was a teen. Like, yeah, I got a bunch of jokes about it too, but it basically, yeah, like. Yeah, I heard Slipknot was actually like one of the first bands, like their self-titled album was one of the first albums that I listened to where I was just like, oh, you could do that? So yeah, it was kind of as a teen is when it first started, and then, you know, which is also a great age to hop in a mosh pit because you're so spongy. You can take the hit.
As Billie Eilish fans are about to discover. Luke is here for Not Fest. Slipknot, of course, headline this, right? So yeah, he's here for that. This is the music festival. He's also doing stand-up shows around the country. All the details are on our website. Would you please thank Luke Severeid?